Are you struggling to manifest because you can't actually visualize the thing that you desire in your imagination? Now, there might be several reasons why you can't picture the thing that you want to imagine in your imagination. The first reason is because you might not be very good at forming mental pictures in your imagination, and this is actually quite common, and you don't need to worry about it because I've got a solution for you. And another reason why you might be struggling to form an image of something in your imagination is because you don't actually know how it would feel to have the thing that you want to manifest. So why is it important to form a mental image of something that we want to manifest? Can things manifest without forming a mental image? And the answer to this is no. An image is actually based on one of the 5 senses. So that's why you don't need to worry if you can't picture something in your mind, because you don't need to actually be able to see your imagination. You don't need to be able to actually see your desire in your imagination. You can use one of the other 4 senses, and we probably are not going to be using smell and taste for our imagination, so that leaves the other 2 senses, which is hearing and touch, and these are very powerful. And I actually go as far to say as the hearing is a much more powerful sense than the sight, because just because you see something doesn't necessarily mean that you have obtained your desire, but you can manipulate the words that you hear to mean that you have specifically received the thing that you desire. So that's why we are going to use audiation to form a mental image of something. We are going to hear it in our imagination, not necessarily see it. If you can see something in your imagination, I encourage you to see it, but if you can't see it, then simply hear it. All of us can hear in our imagination because we've got that voice in our head replaying over and over again all day long. We can all hear in our imagination. We replay conversations. We hear that voice saying, should I do this? Should I do that? Why didn't she speak to me? Why did he say this? Why did I do that? Did I look stupid here? We have that voice and it talks to us all day long, so we can all hear in our imagination. So we can use this to our advantage. So perhaps you are trying to manifest something that you can't see in your imagination, and this could be a concept. It could be that you want to manifest a certain feeling about yourself and you can't necessarily see a feeling. So what you do is you can either feel the feeling or you can hear the feeling, and I think it's much more powerful to hear the feeling and then we can feel it based on what we hear. Or say for example you are trying to manifest something that you've never experienced and you don't know how to feel like that. Maybe you're trying to manifest being a successful business owner who's very, very wealthy. You've never run a business before, you've never been wealthy, so you couldn't possibly experience that. You don't know how it's going to feel. How does it feel to be successful? What does success actually feel like? And this can be a very abstract concept, so that is why we are going to solidify this with a conversation in our imagination. So how do we have a conversation in our imagination that makes sure we are going to manifest what we want? We are going to be using a technique by Neville Goddard called the telephone technique, and we are going to imagine that we are talking on the telephone to somebody that we trust, and that person that we trust is going to tell us that they are amazed because we have the thing that we want to have. So they are going to say something to us like, wow, it's amazing what a successful business owner you are. Your revenue is through the roof. And you are going to confirm this back to them and say, yes, I know, I'm absolutely amazed. I'm so grateful. It's a very, very simple, short conversation, and you're going to stop right there. It only needs to be short. You need to be able to remember it, and you are going to loop that scene in your imagination over and over again. You're going to hear those words on repeat. It's like repeating affirmations, but it's not quite like an affirmation because it's creating a memory of an event that is going to take place in the future. This is a future event of a telephone call that will take place in the future. And when you can imagine something taking place in the future, then you can feel the feelings of experiencing that event. And that's sometimes why affirmations don't work, is because you're not bringing any feeling into the situation. You're not actually creating a memory. You're just hearing voices in your head, but it doesn't mean anything. So we have to make it meaningful by creating a memory that we actually experience and we actually feel. So even though it's a very short memory and it sounds like an affirmation, it's not an affirmation, because we're just looping over a memory, a reverse memory, a memory that we've created before it's actually happened in our physical reality. And this is what actually manifests. Since I started using this technique, I have had so much more success. My manifestations have been coming a lot faster than they would do previously when I was just trying to picture an image in my mind, because it's very difficult to loop over a picture or make it mean anything. Just because you can see something doesn't mean an event actually occurred. You might be looking at a photo or a static image. You need to put yourself in the scene, and the best way to put yourself in the scene is to move your mouth in your imagination. So when you are having a conversation, you're actually physically moving your mouth. You can hear something with your sense, you can feel your mouth moving in your imagination. So we're bringing at least two senses into this scene, and if you can picture something as well, then you can either picture yourself holding a phone or looking at something, which would also demonstrate that you have manifested what you want. Maybe you're looking at your computer and it's showing you your bank balance at the same time as being on the phone. Don't worry if you can't see it, that's just an added bonus if you can form pictures in your imagination. So with this technique, you don't need to be able to imagine how it feels to be a successful business owner. You simply need to imagine an event where somebody's telling you that you are a successful business owner, and when it happens, you will just be a successful business owner and you'll just know that that is true. You'll just feel it. But we are feeling a conversation that wouldn't be taking place unless this desire had actually manifested. And you might be asking me, well, does this technique always work? Is it guaranteed to work? And I encourage you to go and watch one of my other videos called Does Manifestation Always Work? And that will answer your question as to what you need to do to guarantee it's always going to work for you. Have you ever tried the telephone technique? Let me know in the comments below and let me know what manifests for you. And if you want to manifest fame, fortune, or followers, then I have a free manifestation milestone board pack to help you do that, and you can get that in the description below for free. And now it's your turn to go and put your stamp on the world.